living in a pleasant things or pleasurable things. So there are people that um live in the world that only contemplate. Their only focus, their only goal in life is to sort of have a nice car, a bigger house, or a big things in life. It's kind of like since we all live in America, I'm sure there are people that listen to this through Society Bites Radio in different part of the world too. But since I live in America, the notion that we are driven by is that the bigger the better, and the more the merrier. And we think that when we have more pleasant things, nicer things, that we will be a lot happier. But um, this is not the the idea that in Buddhist teachings that he's trying to focus on, or to um, this is not something that in Buddhist teachings it doesn't say that pleasant things are bad, but it's important to understand that our why we are driven our lives thinking that these pleasurable things, going to give us ultimate happiness. And so our goal in life is to sort of be happy. And I know that happiness is kind of a overrated word, but um, we want to find contentment in life. And so when we are trying to find this contentment, and when we are driven by this idea that having pleasurable things in life going to give us this happiness, or the um, contentment in life, it's a false understanding. Why I say false understanding is the nature of pleasurable things is actually doesn't last long, and whatever that we think bring us happiness, uh, there is a certain nature to everything, and so that nature is applied to pleasurable things too. When someone trying to get closer to, or trying to bring everything that pleasant things to life, without realizing that pleasant things someday you're going to lose, that we're going to lose. And so there is we are, without knowing, we are creating a conflict, because we don't want that to lose. But the nature of it, it's just that going away from us, far away. Things that we don't like becomes old. Things that we don't like, we like becomes, things that we like becomes old. Things that we like become decayed. Things that we like just belongs to a certain nature. And so when we can't stop that, what happens is that I said that we are creating a conflict between this nature, that we are trying to go against this nature, and that's become a, a really big issue for us, because we just create a fight with us to keep something that against the nature. And so hence, rather than enjoying that pleasant things, pleasurable things that we um, collected, and it becomes a um, more something that brings us more, it makes us tired because we're trying to maintain it. And so that's why in Buddha's teachings that Buddha says that when somebody only contemplate on pleasurable things, pleasant things in life, and the ultimately that person's uh, uh, that goal that they want to attain, which is the contentment, is kind of drifting away. And so hence Buddha says asubhanupassing viharanta. And Buddha says that the opposite of this. So you need to focus on asubhanupassing viharanta. As you have these pleasurable things, it's important to have a very good understanding, that mindful awareness that we talk about at the beginning. We need to have this awareness as we collect these things, as we get closer to these pleasurable things, sort of have an backup in mind, an idea that that the nature of things is change, and then when that pleasurable things change, especially we are talking about materialistic things, and when these things change, that I have to adapt to it. And so when we do that, that contentment, happiness that we are looking for in life just becomes a natural thing. You really don't have to work towards it, because when as the nature start to work through these things, and we are just sort of accepting that reality. And when you're accepting that reality, we are learning to let things go. And the easier for us to let go, easier for us to be content and be happy and let go. And so that's where the happiness or the contentment lies. As otherwise, if we think that the happy feeling that we get when we get something new, get something pleasant thing, pleasurable things, that does make you happy. It's kind of a more active thing, but it's a momentary thing, because the reality is next moment we may very well lose that, and just the nature of it. And so it's a different way of looking at life. And I think time and time again through these episodes that I have talked about, it's definitely a different way of looking at life. And so it's really important to take a look at that as we progress through this path. And so so on this episode, what I want you to take on is that Subhanapassing Viharanta, when somebody only focuses on that pleasurable things in life and not contemplating on the true nature of real nature of those things, and we can really have a difficult time to attain the goal in life, which is that we are looking for contentment, happiness. And so it's a key there is a key understanding lies as we try to attain this goal in life. And so it's really important that we keep this understanding as we progress through this practice, because sometimes one of the complaints that people have is that I meditate, I practice every day, but I'm still the same, because just because you focus on your breath, just because you learn to be mindful moment to moment, and if you don't have this vast understanding that happiness is become a challenge. So and so I'm going to leave this idea with you with this episode, and I'm going to connect with the next one, and we're going to continue with this topic a little bit more. Thank you.